Eagles drop another loss on prime time Monday Night Football. Let the collapse talk begin. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Philly Sports Now, a Philly fan podcast. My name is Zach. With me is Andrew. And we're back to talk all things Philly sports now. And as I said in the opener, the collapse has begun. Now, really only in statistics, I would say. And by statistics, I don't even mean that. I just mean we're on a 3-game losing streak. But if we want to talk sports, if we want to talk Philly sports, we got to talk the controversy. And the controversy is what is happening in the Philadelphia Eagles. And we're here to look at it. We're here to dissect it. Andrew, watched the game as well as I did. I might have watched the Monstropolis version. Maybe leave a comment telling me if you watched that as well. Sully, absolute monster against the Philadelphia Eagles, but we'll leave that alone. Anyway, moving on to the actual game itself. Eagles lose 19 to 22 again to the Los Angeles Chargers. There's a lot to take in from this game. It very much hurts his worst game of the season, maybe his career, and with that, I actually have not listened to Philly sports talk today, but I'm sure the fire Hurts chants are as loud as the fire Kevin chants right now. And I think there's a lot to be said today. I gotta say, I think knowing how Philadelphia sports talk is gonna react, I think there's a lot we need to say. But let's sticking to kind of the analysis of the game, the stats itself. I'm gonna start with some good, and I think that good comes from the defense. The Eagles do hold the Chargers to actually 19 points in regulation, and they lose to the Chargers by a field goal in overtime. I mean, the Eagles had every opportunity to keep tying it, to win it. The Eagles' offense lost this game, I think, is a pretty valid statement, although, there are some improvements, a certain running back being one of them. But I think as of right now, I think it's strong to say that the defense was still the best case. And my little nugget of wisdom I'll throw at you is Justin Herbert was held to his second least passing yards of this season. His lowest passing yards of the season so far at 81 yards against is that Jacksonville? Yes. And then this game being his second lowest. Justin Herbert being held to 139 yards passing. I mean, this defense continues to be a real reason why the Eagles can win any given game, any given week.
Yeah, no question about it. I mean, the defense is the number one piece in this team. And yeah, the defense did what they did. The offense cost them this game, and I think it's something we sound like a broken record at this point. It's something that, we talked about in the Broncos game. We talked about it before in the Giants game when the offense didn't show up. The defense held the Cowboys down for a while, and the offense couldn't put the game away when it was 21-0. And then same thing against the Bears. The defense kept you into the game, and then the offense didn't do enough. And then it was the same thing Monday night. The defense did everything they could to win this game, and the only thing they could have did different was get a defensive touchdown, which is obviously more than anybody can ask for. But no, I think, I mean, credit to Vic Fangio and the defense. You lose Jalen Carter, he's out for the game, and everyone's worried, oh, how's the pass rush going to be? How's the pass rush going to be? Well, guess what? The defense stepped up with 7 sacks. That's how good the pass rush was. That's how good the defense stepped up and did their job filling in for an injury there. That's what a team's about and a unit, and that's what the defense is right now. And they're seeing it on all levels. And I mean, I know Phillips was a big trade deadline acquisition, but I'm gonna go to the Jair Alexander. He's a guy you traded for the secondary, and then he ends up retiring, right? So he didn't even get on the field like he was supposed to. So now this is the secondary that's stepping up and doing things that, you know, they realized, okay, we obviously weren't strong enough. They tried to fill into that void. They tried to claim Darius Slay, but the Bills beat the Eagles to that as well. So I thought this was Adoree Jackson's best game of the season. I mean, I cannot say enough about the job he's done. And I know he's had a down year struggling, but he stepped up big time in this game. Multiple pass deflections, couple big tackles. And I mean, yeah, the defense was fantastic. And I know obviously they had one hiccup, and it was in the first drive of the game when that screen pass went for the 60 yards that set the Chargers up for that first touchdown. And you know what? You're going to have a hiccup in a 60-minute game. So no one's going to fault them for one bad play slash drive. That was the difference in the Chargers right there, was that one big drive got them going. And then the defense made the adjustment and didn't allow another touchdown the rest of the game.
I mean, when I think that the only problem the defense did still ends with the team tying it in regulation. Like there's nothing like we can pick we can fudging up sayings, but we can comb through the defense here. But at the end of the day, the defense did their job, and I think that's the main takeaway here is they continue to excel at their job.
Yeah, no question about it. And it was everybody. And that's and I think that's the biggest thing before we get into the offense. The biggest thing I'm seeing from the defense and the offense, the two units, is how it just seems like the defense is there for one of another. And I'm not even trying to dive into the Brown stuff. I'm just talking about more than just one player. Like it seems like everybody is there picking each other up. If you see someone have a bad play, you kind of see them approach each other and they fix it. It's not like holding grudges and different things like that. I mean, again, you see that drive when they go down the field and score that touchdown. You see them, fixing things on the sideline, getting it right, and then that turns into a different play. And then you see Quinton Mitchell. He gets the bad pass interference late, but then they pick each other up. And Cooper DeJean, he later gets the big pass break up there late in the game. So again, I think that's the biggest thing I'm seeing from the offense and defense is they seem just there for one another. They seem more, I don't know, obviously what's going on in the locker room, but they seem closer. So I don't know if it's something Vic Fangio does with his defense compared to Kevin Patullo, maybe leaves out the team bonding portion of it. I don't know, but it just seems like the defense is 10 times closer than the offense, which is weird to say because we always talk about how young of a defense it is and then
Hmm.
how like the offense is the veterans of the group, that the team is the unit of the group
Yeah, we talked
that you
about
have the
how
highest offensive payroll in the sport of football.
we talked about how a lot of the offseason stuff was not shaking up, but I mean changing things on the defensive side. So for them to be the close-knit group, it's a weird situation. I mean, we've talked about before on paper this team should be winning 40 to nothing. They have the best defense literally and they have the best offense on paper. But their offense isn't the best offense and it's not playing out that way. And since we're talking about the offense, I think it's the next logical thing to go into is how this offense performed, and it's weird because this game is a weird game, right? I want to look at some numbers here to. I forget already if I said it at the top or if this was before the podcast, but we got to talk about Jalen Hurts, of course. But like you know, two superstars, not going to include Brown on this right now. Brown's disappointing. He's had his targets, he had his drops, big time moment, should have had a touchdown, all these things. I want to focus on two kind of positives, but also these players had some negatives, so which is what leads to this. First is first. Jalen Hurts has 240 yards this game. I mean, that's in itself incredible, right? Now, it's nice to see he was having a good passing game. So it's weird to see such a low score on the scoreboard essentially. And along the side of high numbers, you've got Saquon Barkley putting up 122 rushing yards. Now, for anyone that hasn't realized it, I mean, obviously Barkley looked good yesterday, right? He gets the only touchdown of the game, and that's going to be flashy. That was like what, a 50-yard touchdown, something like that. Big flashy moment. So of course you're like, oh, it was a great game for Barkley. But what you might not have realized is with that touchdown, of course, Barkley had 122 rushing yards, which the stat I'm trying to get to here, this is only his second game of the year that he's got over 100 rushing yards in. And that's huge because it showed something worked during that game. And I think there's a lot of things to talk about, which kind of include play calling, which kind of include how Jalen Hurts lines up and how the run gets going. But it's weird how there were some pretty great things yesterday that resulted in no scoring.
Yeah, and I think that comes down to execution. I think from top to bottom, I truly believe the offense looked 100% better in terms of play calling. I know over the weekend it was reported Sirianni was going to have more involvement with the offense. I thought overall, the terms of the preparation and getting the team ready was a lot better. And I know that sounds crazy to say with only putting up 19 points and one touchdown, but when you look at the plays that the team didn't execute, that's where I come from. Like you talk about the numbers. Barkley looked 10 times better. He looked quick. He looked like he had an offensive line blocker for him. He had 122 yards, like you said, right? Number two, Jalen Hurts finished with 240 yards, and the reason why he didn't score the touchdowns is because he has four interceptions. This was Hurts's worst game probably of his career, if not since his rookie year. And he was missing reads left and right. And then with that being said, he had AJ Brown, who, yeah, he finished with 100 yards, but he had three key drops in this game. And that's the offensive preparation got them ready for those moments. They put him in positions. I was very critical after the Bears game saying, oh, that was all coaching. They came into that game not looking prepared. I felt the opposite in this game. I loved, you're going against a really good passing defense and you do play action to start the game. You had a lot more play action plays to start for number one in this game, which threw the Chargers off a little bit. And it was probably one of Hurts' better throws of the game, and Brown drops it. And it would have been I don't know if he would have been able to score. I don't know if he had enough separation to score, but it would have been a 50, 60-yard gain to start the game off a play action pass down the field. And then number two, then you had the Brown drop in the end zone, which probably would have sealed the game if he makes that catch. And that was without question Hurts' best throw of the game. And that's what was weird about this Hurts game because he played three terrible, terrible quarters. And in the fourth quarter, he started playing better, and it was like, okay. Here's that Hurts prime time you're ready for. And it's like, okay, is that bad Eagles game? They're gonna escape with a way and find a way to win, right? That's what I was thinking throughout the fourth quarter. Because as bad as Hurts was, you saw he was stepping up his game when it mattered.
Yeah.
And even in overtime, that drive, he until that interception, he was hitting guys left and right. But in the end, he missed way too many throws in this game. He had four interceptions. And I mean, he missed Jahan Dotson wide open for a touchdown on his second interception, I believe it was when he tried to force it to Brown through two guys.
That's what
So I really thought they were put in position and prepared in this game, unlike a lot of other games. So I was actually pleased with the coaching more than I have been the last few weeks.
I will say one of the coolest things about the Monsters Inc. point of view of this game was the viewpoint of the game was like a Madden view. So you're looking at it from like bird's eye view looking down from the quarterback position. And it was interesting seeing delayed time, all that stuff. But it was interesting seeing how the plays were like panning out, and you could actually see where Hertz should have gone versus where he goes when he hesitates, when the man's open. It was kind of easier to see when it was Hertz's fault or not, is how I felt watching the game, I should say. Now, I do have to talk about Jalen Hurts having his worst game because is it his worst game? I don't know. Like you said, there's 240 yards, there's dropped passes. That's not his fault. Four interceptions and technically a fumble is bad. It was a bad Hurts game. But I'm gonna stick with the Hurts stuff. Having Hurts have a bad game, I feel like this year, again, we've talked about it before. I know Andrew and I have disagreed on this, but Eagles fans freaking out and needing someone to blame is a problem because I gotta tell you, Andrew, and I understand Kevin Patullo is still learning or they're still trying to figure things out. I don't know, and I'll get to that in a second too. I know there's a lot to get to. It feels like, but I am at the point that I don't want to see any changes this offseason. If you want to move on from AJ Brown, fine. You have Devontae Smith, you have Dotson, and I would rather get a new wide receiver two and keep Dotson as three. Um, if you want to move on from Brown, fine, but otherwise, like you can't move on from Jalen Hurts. He had a bad game. He had a bad game. He's having a darn good career this season that may or may not end up with the Eagles in the playoffs, but like he's having a good career. It's just the team is not having a good season. I mean, we're sitting here complaining at 8-4. I saw a meme today where it was like Dallas being happy to be like 5-6 or something. I forget what record it was, and then it's Eagles fans freaking out at 8-4. And yes, Eagles fans have a high. We have a high standard. We have a low tolerance bar. I get it, but like we can't run Jalen Hurts out of town. And that's what it feels like people are gearing up to do after this game, man.
I don't know if I agree with that. I don't think people are trying to run him out of town. I think they're just being critical of his performance, which is very much justified after that game. I don't.
Being hold on. Being critical of his performance, that's one thing. But I see on Twitter people reacting like he is literally causing this entire thing to go down, like the ship to go down. And what I've been leading into is I think the issue is simply put, it's the same thing that Devontae Smith said, I think it was week 3, maybe week 4, and that's that the offense just has not been on the same page this entire year. And I have to point something else out. This time, because I keep, you know, shocker, but as a podcaster, I try to throw a clickbait here and there. I keep talking collapse. I keep talking about the collapse, 2023 collapse, which was very legitimate. You go back and you look at it, you can see kind of writing on their walls, and it ends with Brian Johnson being fired. The fact that they haven't fired Kevin Patulu tells me it's not a cut and dry play calling issue. It is a I don't know if you want to say it's a locker room thing. I don't know if you want to say it's the Super Bowl hangover, which no one's also talking about. Like I think there is truth to people putting in less effort after winning. I think there's truth to being a little overconfident after winning. And you have to get brought down to earth that following year. It's not a joke that they're like the joke comes that they're kind of drunk off of their success. That's why it's called a hangover here. And I think we're going to come out of this year and we're going to come into next year stronger than ever. Otherwise, we would have fired Patullo by now.
Yeah, I'd be curious, but I mean, his future is going to all depend on how the season ends up. If you somehow miss the playoffs, there's no chance he's back next year,
I
nor should he be back
disagree.
next year.
I think they would have
It
fired him by now if that was true.
Nah, 'cause he's Nick's boy. Like they've
Yeah,
been
but
together
Brian
for a
Johnson was,
while.
I guess he was Hertz's boy and not Nick's boy. I don't know.
But again, it was a similar situation. You didn't get to the point you should have gotten to, so you fired him. And that's the same thing. If we make the playoffs, I think it could be different. But if you somehow collapse this enough where you don't win the division and you miss the playoffs, there's no chance he's back next year. And I'll say that I'm not. If you make the playoffs, that's one thing. But if you miss the playoffs, he shouldn't be back next year. That
I
that
will
means it's
say,
offensive play call. That means you probably lose to the Raiders. You might lose. I mean, we
I
won't go
kind,
down
I
that
think you
hill
have to
unless
win
it
out,
happens.
dude. I
But
think you have to win out the year.
you can have one loss, in my
So
opinion.
you're saying 1-1 with Washington and a win against the Raiders.
I think you have to sweep Washington because I'd say the loss is to Buffalo.
Isn't
I
the
don't have
Oh, I forgot about Buffalo. I forgot about Buffalo. I
I don't
agree.
have I have no faith in Buffalo right now. I mean,
No.
unless we see something better. You have
No.
2 games before Buffalo, so we'll see what happens by then.
Although it would be very, very classic Philadelphia Eagles to somehow go beat Buffalo in
Yeah,
Buffalo.
you're not wrong. You're not
Like, yeah,
wrong.
it would be the most insane Eagles moment to be like, we just lost all of these crazy. Well, I could see them losing to the Raiders and then beating Buffalo.
Yeah,
Like,
that would be a very Philly thing.
exactly. Like, screw modern day Eagles. That would just be classic Philadelphia
Yeah.
sports right there. Um, yeah, I mean, talking about what's left in the remainder of the season, it's one of those things where I think we had to come into this season with tempered expectations. I think no one has tempered expectations. To want to enjoy football is fine, but I don't I think there has to be a point where we look at the season and admit it's not a total failure. And that's how I feel looking at it right now. The offense is struggling and there needs to be stuff figured out, but we're not going to go win a Super Bowl with this offense. And if you haven't accepted that by now, it's crazy. I think my current goal, which should be everyone's, is to simply win the division. Because if we win the division, we break the NFC East curse that's 20 plus years old at this point of no back-to-back division leaders. There's no reason the Eagles shouldn't be able to do this. We talked about that in 2023, and I think if the Eagles pull that off, that's the solidifies Patullo doesn't get fired, solidifies everyone's job is safe, and they just need to figure it out in the offseason.
Yeah, you better win the division. If you don't win the division, there's nothing successful about this season. I'll go on record say right now. Like you better win the division. I think success can't be really figured out until the season's over. I don't think anything. I'm not sitting here and saying anything so far this year has been successful because I really don't think anything has. Your bottom half in offense, your bottom half in defense by yardage. Yeah, you're 13th and or 12th or 13th in points per game by the defense. So really the only success right now would be making the playoffs and winning the division. So, because I mean, if you look at any players, nobody's really having an historic year for their standpoint. Like last year, right? If we didn't win the Super Bowl, you could look at Barkley. You can't look at Barkley this year. You could look at AJ Brown. Like no one this year is even putting up numbers that are like, okay, he's having an historic season. He's having a great year for himself. So I don't know where you find the success, but right now, if it ended today, outside the division title, like I think that would be the one you turn to, in my opinion. So I think again, I don't think you can really say what is or what isn't until the season's fully over. But yeah, I think with these 4 games left, you have to figure yourself out. I mean, you have luckily 3 games on paper you should win and be able I mean, especially if Daniels is still going to be out and it's going to be Mariota. You get a very bad Raiders team that is going for the number 1 pick in the draft next year. So you better not lose that game at home. There's a reason you're still going into that game at 11.5 point favorites, even with how bad it's been. Whether the
Is
offense
that so
shows up,
bad?
yeah, with it, whether the offense shows up or not, I mean, I think with how good the defense is playing, I don't expect the defense to allow enough points to lose this game, to be honest. And I think that's what's good. I think that's what holds fans' hopes compared to 2023 is the defense was nowhere near this good in 2023. That's why you fired your defensive coordinator throughout that season, mid-season, and one last hope. So I think that's the difference in where you can fix this compared to that year is how good this defense really is because they can hold a team to 3 to let's just say 13 points, like you saw against the Lions or the Packers,
This
and you got
defense,
two
this
two
defense
big
lets
wins.
you sorry,
Keep
but
hope.
this defense lets you win any given game, any given week.
Yes, exactly. So I think that's the big difference. Like when we went into that Buccaneers game in 2023 playoffs, it was like, okay, that offense is going to destroy the defense, and with how bad the offense is playing, like we all had no faith. And you end up actually you didn't win the division that year, so you went down to Tampa. So I think that'd be the difference this year is okay, you can steal a playoff game at home. Like let's just say, I think it ended now. San Francisco is coming to Philadelphia. You're gonna put that California team in a cold January game in Philadelphia in front of the crowd and that defense like that. That's what's gonna give fans hope
Sure.
for the playoffs. But again, until the offense shows signs, I don't think there is going to be much of that. And yeah, I think that's where it's at right now. And we'll see. And I think, in 2023, there was no reason to believe that this could be fixed because they never showed it before. Well, they showed you they can fix it in 2024. Sirianni won you a Super Bowl. Hurts won you a Super Bowl. Devontae Smith, Barkley, like they were all there. So that team's still there. And then, I mean, I truly think, another read we'll get is when Lane Johnson comes back because this team is so much different without Lane Johnson where he can make that big of a difference. I don't know. It's crazy to me that a lineman can make that big of a difference, but I saw. Sorry if I'm wrong. I think it was Dan Orlovsky tweeted it out that the Eagles are 11-29 without Lane Johnson in his career.
That's crazy. What I
Like,
was going to ask was, do you think sorry, I was reading a text, but do you think that the O-line depth is a problem, or is it even associated with that? Because I think I alluded to it earlier, but I think when the Eagles play under, or when Hurts plays under center, he still has better, I'll say, drives or plays than when he's not.
yeah, I wouldn't say a depth's a problem because I think there have been guys that have stepped up, and I think it's just for some reason the offensive line is the just can't get healthy as a unit. Like we've talked about it all year with Landon Dickerson. I mean, he left yesterday's game for a while before I think he eventually came back. You look at Lane Johnson; he's not missing time. Cam Jurgens has been out. It's everybody has been. I think outside Jordan Mailata, I think everyone has missed an extended period of a game or even missed a game. Like it's just been that weird of a season. And Zach, I think you said it week 5, maybe I don't know, some point in the first half of the year is sacrifice a loss potentially and rest them. I bet you they're wishing they did that now. I can't remember exactly which game it was you said that, but
It's
um,
early. I remember
yeah, it
that
was
too.
early on in the year, and now, if you would have rested them a week or two and sacrificed that game in a week, not even sacrifice, because again, unless it's Lane Johnson, I think your team can still pull out the win. But I think that could have helped their health down the road, and I don't know, yeah, what it is that they can't. And I know yesterday it was just a fluke play. The guy falls on Landon Dickerson's leg, and that's how he misses time. But it's just been weird things like that. And until that big part of your unit gets right, I think that's also affecting Hurts in his head as he's thinking, man, I gotta get rid of the ball so quick, and it's affecting his reads. I think you saw that on the third interception he had across the middle, where I think he kind of just rushed it because he's like, I gotta get rid of this ball, and he didn't. So while it's not affecting the depth necessarily, I think it's affecting situations like that.
But I'd also be curious if it's again like I'm gonna go back to the hangover, but like these guys won one already. They won last year, and I think they were willing to stick it out a lot of the times they shouldn't have last year. I could see this year a lot more being done in the point of like, oh yeah, I need to heal, and like I already did this, and there's only so much my body can take. So I have no proof in the pudding for that one, but I am curious if that plays into it at all. Like
The only reason I
how much they're willing to physically take on week to week.
the only reason why I don't know if I agree with that is because if that was the case, I feel like they would have missed the game. Like Dickerson's not trying to go play, right? He's like to that point, oh, I'm gonna take this game off because I already did that.
Sorry, I got distracted by my own hair. I'm like a dog or a cat or whatever, but
Squirrel.
I do get your point. Um, anyway, so let me look here, but just to kind of wrap things up, I guess I think we kind of have a mutual agreement that we're gonna I guess end on something negative, but Jake Elliott missed an indoor field goal under 50 yards, and woof.
And we mentioned after the Bears game, he missed that one, and we were talking about we need to see him kind of have a couple quote unquote perfect games, just to get that. I mean, after I remember us after week 5 or 6 saying, "Wow, he's impressing us this year because he's on point because
Yeah.
of last year and the struggles, and it was different to start the year. Where now it's like, okay, this is the Elliott we saw last year. Like he's
Right,
not.
we're at the
It's
point
not.
of is he injured or not or something. Like
Yeah, because to your point, like that was one, no conditions, no nothing. Like, especially in today's game, when you're seeing
and
these
it
guys,
in Los Angeles. It's not like we're in Philly where it's
yeah,
like 30 degrees, you know what I mean? Like
yeah, especially and in today's game, when you're seeing guys hit 55, 60 yarders with the ease, like 47, I think it was a 47 if I remember correctly.
that's what
Like,
it was on the longer side, but like in this new era of getting to use your own game balls that you can be in a little bit and like have
yeah,
actually like to your I don't know kind of worn in to your use like it's just it's kind of become a thing to have 50-yard field goals be kind of given.
no, exactly. Like, and we used to be able to do it with Elliott. Oh, 46 yarder, free 3 points. Like,
Exactly.
and it's not that way. You're holding your breath now every time. Like, yeah, it's at that point, and it's a shame.
Well, I mean, I don't really have anything else to add about the Jake Elliott thing. Like, I mean, I was ready to throw him off the ship last year, and we won a Super Bowl. So I'm just gonna follow Howie Roseman, I think, with that one. Like,
So
I'm
maybe if
not
you say
saying
it again, we're going to sue.
that's right, that's right. So get him out of here. But I think I'm at the point where I'm not gonna be surprised if he's replaced this offseason.
Yeah, I
And I
mean,
hate to say it, like, thanks for everything you did, Jake, but
that's obviously again going to all depend on how the year plays out. I mean, if he goes on and finishes out the year fine, then you bring it back. If he goes and misses another 3 or 4 to end the year, then yeah, it's a true conversation,
hey, he's 30 years old. Maybe he retires and then in 10 years we bring him back. I mean, it's
right?
kind of the normal thing right now, right?
Shout out to Philip Rivers,
Shut up, Tyler. That's the funniest freaking thing in the world to me right now. Like
44 years old,
44 years,
gets
like how long is
gets
it?
done
He
gets
hasn't
done
played in
coaching.
5 years, I think.
He gets done coaching his son's high school team 2 weeks ago, and now he's signing an NFL contract.
That's I saw a bit and it was like he he asks, he's like, the Colts, you guys don't have any more Thursday night games, right? And they're like, no. He's like, good, because that's my bingo night. I can't miss bingo night on Thursdays.
That's pretty fun. That's good.
I that was pretty good. Pretty good. I don't know who it was that made that video, so shout out no one. All right, bud. Anything else before we wrap it up?
I mean, it's hopefully going to get better, but I don't think anyone can sit here and say it will.
Yeah, I think
It's
my kind of wrap up here for today is that, and I've said it before and I've said it again. It's a weird time to be an Eagles fan. We have our high expectations are high right now. Like at 8-5. The worst part of this is we're on a losing streak, and it's a real losing streak. Hopefully, you bounce back with a giant win against the Raiders. But like the losing streak sucks, but our expectations are just so high. We just need to see them go into the playoffs and make a run for it. Like just show some life in the playoffs and I'll be happy. I think we need to remember to enjoy the moment. We talk about that with the Phillies a lot, there's a lot of Phillies games in the season and we tend to jump to the playoffs. I feel like with the Eagles, we do that a lot too because they're a good team. And that's what there's just remember that we're in the best time to be an Eagles fan right now, I think, and I don't think I know. So enjoy it. It's frustrating, but you know, keep the game on. And you can always hope. So thank you everyone for listening to Philly Sports Now, Philly Fan Podcast. You can find us on social media. Links are in the description below. And make sure you follow us on Spotify if you have not already. Thank you so much to everyone subscribing on YouTube. Make sure you leave a comment saying what you've agreed or disagreed with us. I think the big thing today is what are your feelings on Hurts? So make sure you give him his love or run him out of town. Do whatever you want. So thank you everyone for listening. And as always, go Birds. Good night.